And so in just a few minutes from now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be releasing the comprehensive action plan under the National Logistics Policy, which is expected to be the next big thing in terms of reforms for the logistics sector in India. The policy aims to make India a global logistics hub with enhanced economic activity post-pandemic and achieve global benchmarks by 2030. Experts in the field believe that the high logistical cost brings down the competitiveness of domestic goods in the international market, and therefore this policy holds a lot of hope and can have long-term benefits. What is going to be the significance of this policy? Let's try and get in a sense of perspective, and for that I'm joined in by Mr. Yash Jain, who is the founder and CEO of the Nimbus Post. Many thanks to you, Mr. Jain, for bringing us, giving us your precious time. We know that today is going to mark a very significant milestone for India's logistical policy. Having said that, what are the challenges that India is facing at the moment? Because we know that our logistical cost compared to countries like the United States or Singapore is much higher. Having said that, we are at the same time also targeting to become a manufacturing hub, something that Prime Minister also pointed out at the SCO summit yesterday. What are the challenges that need to be addressed?
Sure. So this is a very exciting moment, you could say, for India. Logistics is one of the most key factor for entire business, entire ecosystem. I come from a digital ecosystem where we work with thousands of e-commerce merchants in India, and logistics is one of the major factor that drives complete e-commerce business in India, and even have, you could say, the entire growth of digitalization and e-commerce has been because of logistics enablement in India. So this will boost the entire ecosystem, you could say, whether you say the manufacturing, whether you say the digital ecosystem, the more adoption of e-commerce, the more adoption of digital, logistics remains the key background or a key metric for all the industries, you could say. So whether it could be increasing our export, whether it could be increasing our digital exports, whether it could be increasing on the ground connectivity. So I believe if logistics has been improved and made better and optimized in terms of cost, this will impact entire Indian GDP and entire ecosystem, you could say.
All right, when we talk about perishable items, there's a lot to be done as far as the warehousing and the cold chain or the cold chain efficiency rather is concerned. How can India address the storage factor when it comes to perishable items?
For the perishable item, I believe what I could read in this policy is there is a lot of focus on fulfillment and warehousing. There's a lot of you could say collaboration between a lot of different departments, which will be done to increase the fulfillment stack and fulfillment module for India. So that should contribute best. And I believe warehousing is when you go to supply chain, one is the last mile or transportation. After transportation, fulfillment is something that should be really scaled in India.
As far as the pandemic is concerned, I'd like to hear from you what the kind of impact has been on the supply chains, because the disruption in the global supply chains is something not just India but the entire global economy has suffered. Could you throw light on how India has suffered as far as this entire supply chain is concerned? Because the silver lining that still remains is the fact that we are one of the world's largest economies.
Right. So see, pandemic has, what I believe is pandemic has impacted every economy, not just India, you could say globally.
Right.
But if you see the Indian economy, post pandemic, there have been a very good pickup, a very good boom, you could say, which has been if you compare the growth of logistics sector, even compared to pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, it has grown very aggressively. So what I believe is pandemic was something which has impacted, which has slowed down the growth. But post-pandemic, the way e-commerce, the way transportation, the way businesses getting back and hitting back, basically, the growth has been growing tremendously. So this is something I believe we should be able to recover this and even grow at a very faster pace.
Right. And since you were saying that today is going to be a very historic moment for India, let's talk about the policy per se. What are your expectations from the policy that will be unveiled by the Prime Minister today?
Sure. See, the first expectation is because of the fuel costs and all other factors, the logistics costs have almost, you could say, gone higher and higher and higher in India post pandemic. So the first parameter is like what we are doing in policy, and what metrics we could see which can help us to improve the efficiency and cost efficiency in logistics. Because if we are able to optimize the cost and control the cost of, it could be import, it could be export, it could be domestic on the ground movement, it could be fulfillment, we would see the impact on entire supply chain, not just digital. You could say whether it could be perishable good, whether it could be non-perishable good. We will see a good price impact, or a good, you could say, volume impact. So I believe like price, how we can, what optimization we could see in terms of getting the cost down should be the first focus. What I am looking for in the policy.
Right. Let's also talk about the digital contribution. How can, say, artificial intelligence or even blockchain contribute to the logistical policy in coming up with a better database, so to say?
Yeah, so there are a lot of logistics, like the logistics in India is not now being a traditional logistics. There are a lot of startups, there are a lot of unicorns in logistics space now in India, and like even globally. So logistics sector is something which used to be a traditional, or run in a traditional way, like, but now there are a lot of startups, there are a lot of you could say digital companies who have bought up automation, who have bought up AI, who have bought up different models in automation basically, and which is something which is impacting, which is improving, which is enhancing the entire logistics ecosystem of India, you could say.
Right. I don't know how much you've gone through the draft policy that we are also highlighting on our screens right now, which was formulated back in 2019 and of course got delayed because of the pandemic. If in your knowledge there are any things that stand out, what are those factors that you think will aid India in sort of refreshing the logistical policy?
The first thing is like getting this logistics policy live is something I believe would be the best blessing for India, for entire India, on such a day. So like which has been delayed, and getting this live today basically. So first thing is getting this policy would impact entire logistics industry in India. It's not just like policy or implementation. This throws a very positive note towards people and businesses of India, that yes, we are doing something towards logistics sector, or optimizing this, because this was one of the pain point post pandemic. The way fuel prices were hiking, the way everything was hiking, this was one of the pain, because logistics cost was going high and high and high, and that was impacting the entire supply chain, entire ecosystem. So like this is one of the most positive note. Second is like I've gone through policies, there are a lot of new initiatives which I could see. There's a lot of collaborations, there's a lot of departmental collaborations that's been happening, and the objective is to get down the entire logistics cost by the percentage of, as compared to West and other countries. So I believe this would be something, if we are able to launch this policy and achieve this metrics, this will be something an entire blessing for our entire country.
All right. There's an interesting point you've made about departmental coordination. I'm going to actually delve deeper into it, but